Well, how's it going, you guys? Welcome back to the Kneady Homesteader channel, and today I am going to be making a soft, buttery yet sweet dinner roll that I've been working on. I've been tweaking. So I've got it down pat, and these are the rolls that I took to church last week for a funeral. I posted a photo of it. Many of you wanted the recipe to it, so we are going to make it together today. So I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to show you what you're going to need. So we're going to need some yeast. We're going to need an egg. We're going to need some all-purpose flour, which I have my bucket here for that. You're also going to need milk, and it's 1.5 cups of milk, so I'm using full-fat milk. And you're also going to need butter, and we're going to have to warm this milk and soften the butter, so I'm going to show you how I do it. You're also going to need some salt, so I'll get that out. I use sea salt, but you can use whatever salt you like. And we're going to need some sugar. So I've got my bucket of sugar right here. And that's it. All-purpose flour, got that? Okay, so let me spin you around and I'll show you how I do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to measure out 1.5 cups of milk. Okay, and then to this we are going to add 5 tablespoons of butter. I cut my butter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I cut my butter because it'll soften a little bit easier that way. I'm just going to add it right into my milk. You can do this on a stovetop. I'm going to use my microwave, and we want to get this milk to 110 degrees. So I have, and I'll leave a link down below for the thermometer that I have that I absolutely love. I use this for my my sourdough starter. And so right now in my kitchen, it is, you can see it, it's 70 degrees. I had to turn up the heat because it's 65 in my house. And I know my dough is not going to want to rise with that. So right now we are sitting at about 42 degrees on my milk. So we're going to throw this in the microwave and get it warmed up to 110 degrees. Now while that's warming up, I'm going to take this 3 tablespoons and I'm going to set it off to the side because I'm going to use that once our bread is already baked and comes out of the oven, and we are going to kind of brush it with some melted butter. In the meantime, I'm going to get my egg cracked here. Now, mine is a home egg, so I always crack it in a separate container, make sure it's good. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 tablespoons of instant yeast in here. Okay, and I'm also going to be adding 1/2 cup of sugar. You can use honey if you prefer, but today we are going to keep it simple and use sugar. And we are at, ooh, 111.1. So I don't know if you can see that. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and just pour that milk and butter mixture in with our yeast and our sugar. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. I like to layer my flour on top of this and then my egg, just so the egg isn't going into something warm. Also, don't put your salt in with the yeast because it can kill it. So we're just trying to be as mindful as we can. This recipe calls for 4 to 5 cups. What I do is I add 4 cups and then I see how it comes together, and if it needs a little more, I add a little bit more to it. And this recipe will make roughly 20 to 24 rolls. And it is perfect for Christmas. It's perfect for sandwiches, ham sandwiches, anything that you're serving. So we're going to go ahead and add 4 cups. What I do is I add my, I don't have my sifter on right now, but I just level it out with the back of a knife. There's 2, 3, 4, and then on top of that we can add the egg. We are going to add a teaspoon of salt. I'm using sea salt, and that is it. Okay, so now I'm going to crank up my bowl. I'm going to see how this comes together. I'm going to take this to a level 2 on my KitchenAid, and we're just going to watch it. Okay, and I can already tell I'm going to need a little bit more flour. So I'm just going to get a little 1/4 cup measuring cup here, and I'm just going to tap a little bit in as it starts to come together here. And of course, I have a lot of experience doing this now, so I've got an eye for it. Now, if you're new to it, just be patient. If it's too wet, you know it needs a little bit more flour. The whole goal is to get a nice clean bowl to be able to touch the dough without it sticking to you. If it's a little sticky, it's okay. You don't want it super dry though, because that'll be a tough, chewy bread, and we don't want that either. So we're just going to keep an eye on it as this comes together. And I know it needs a little bit more. And start watching the sides of this bowl come clean. So right now we're at 4.5 cups of extra flour needed. It all depends on how fresh your flour is. My flour is pretty new, so it's pretty fresh. And it's starting to look beautiful. Okay, we just need a little bit more. It's still a little sticky. And I know this is, I'm showing all this because I know this is the frustrating part for many of you. It was frustrating for me when I first started to learn, but now it's like my favorite part. Like, I love being able to bring this together. So we are at 4 3/4 cup of flour. And we might end up with 5 cups here for my bread. And I think that's going to be perfect. Now, how can we tell? We're going to stop this, and I'm going to feel that dough. And it's okay if it's a little sticky. If it's super sticky on me, I might need to add a little extra. That's looking really good, so let's feel it. Oh yeah, that feels so much better. Okay, we're going to let this knead now. So mine took about 5 1/4 cups of flour total. And now I'm going to let this knead for 5 to 7 minutes. When it starts looking nice and smooth. It all depends on your mixer too. So I'm going to set my timer, and I'll be there. We have it. So it's been 5 minutes. And so I am going to go ahead and take this off of my mixer. And I'm going to take it to the cutting board, and we will get this shaped in a ball. So now I'm going to go ahead and make sure you have clean hands. I'm going to get my hook out, and then I use a KitchenAid little scraper. I will leave a link for all these things down below, but you can always find them in my Amazon storefront in lists. So I try to list everything in there that I use, so it's easy for you to find, especially if, you know, I'm not online and you're needing to get something in order to make bread or can something. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Let's just kind of shape it into a ball. And look how beautiful that is. Let's see. See how beautiful that is? Ah, I love making bread. Okay, so now I'm going to get my bowl, and I'm going to use my easy dispenser. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just put some oil in here. don't need a whole lot. You just don't want it to stick to the sides. And you can see how clean the sides of my bowl is from kneading that dough, and that's what you want. So we're gonna just plop it in upside down, spin it, and then set it up like that. And now I'm gonna get a damp rag with hot water, and we're gonna lay it on top of this. And then I am gonna set it, because it's winter and it's really cold in my house, I'm gonna set it in my oven with the oven light on, and this is gonna rest for 30 minutes until it doubles in size. Hold on, I want to spin this around so I can always tuck. I like to tuck the extra bit of towel in the handle. And so this is gonna rise for 30 minutes. In my oven with the light on is perfect. I do have a proof setting on my oven, so I'm going to be using that as well. But if you don't have that, just a light on and in the oven so it doesn't get any drafts. The light is like the perfect amount of heat to raise this dough, okay? All right, I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes and I'll see you then. The timer has gone off. And this is our dough. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna gently deflate that. And then roll it right out on our board here. And I like to roll mine out just because I like to make them as even as possible. And so you don't have to if you don't want to. It just makes it a little easier for me to make them pretty even. So I try to get kind of a rectangle shape there, and I use my bench knife. And what I want to do with my scale, now I own a kitchen scale, it helps so much. This one is a KitchenAid, and I love this because it's 2 scales in one. So this I use for like my sourdough and that kind of stuff. This little scale is very handy for rolls. So that's what I'm going to be using, and I'm going to change it to ounces, and then I like about 2 ounces for each roll. And so what I like to do is I will just cut it like so. And then I'll put it right on the scale. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hold on. Let's work it up a little bit. There we go. So that is just shy of 2 ounces. It doesn't have to be perfect. 1.9 to 2.1. I try to get it right around that range. And then when I have my dough like this, I just tuck it and pinch it. And then I roll it. Sometimes if you want to roll it in your hand, you can roll it in your hand, kind of like a meatball. I always like to make sure that the bottom is nice and pinched and together. And then we're going to start putting them on a cookie sheet. Let me grab. Okay, so here is my lined cookie sheet with parchment paper. I just spray a little bit of olive oil Pam on the pan. And then we're just going to put our dough right on there like that. All right, let's turn our scale back on here. And you'll kind of get the hang of how big to make it. That's 1.96, so that will work. And then I just pinch in. Almost make it like almost like a dumpling. And then I pinch it all together like so. And then I give it a good roll. Make sure the bottom is nice and together and pretty. And then there's number 2. So I will just keep going. Now that's a 2.03, so that works for me as well. And then I'll just keep going and working until I get all of these rolls made. Now 24 is a good amount, but I'm making meatloaf for dinner, so these rolls will be used tomorrow as meatloaf sandwiches, for leftover sandwiches for lunch. And tomorrow night we're gonna have chili, so I will have rolls for chili. That is 2.01. So like I said, the more you make these the more you just have an eye for how big the rolls will be. But 2 ounces is a really nice size. So I'm gonna keep working here and I'll come back when all these are made. Okay, I'm gonna on purpose do one that's too big just to show you. I realized I guess I should show you what happens if it's too big. So there is 2.67, okay, ounces, way too big. So what I do is I'll just cut off an end and then I'll reweigh it. That's 2.0 perfect, but let's cut off a little bit more so I can show you what to do if it's not enough. So there's 1.5. I know if I add this piece back, we'll be back at 2.00. So what I do is, because you don't want this to show up in your bread dough, so when it's rolled. So what you want to do is put it, kind of add it to the soft side, the most oiled side, and just kind of blend it into the dough, and then pull it up. Now, for many of you who have been watching me for a long time, you guys know how to do this. But I'm reaching out to people who have never made dinner rolls and maybe wants to make them for the very first time. Maybe they're getting a KitchenAid mixer for Christmas. Maybe they've never made dinner rolls before in their life. And so that's the people that I want to reach out to right now. So this is what I do. I just kind of blend it and pinch it. Okay, and then roll it. And then I always check the bottom. You see how that kind of looks a little messed up? I like them pretty, so I like to pinch it all together, like so. And then there's your little roll. So, all right, I just wanted to kind of show that, just in case you're... So I was able to get 29. I made some smaller ones, although I feed kids, so... but depending on how big and how small you make yours, you can make yours bigger, you can make yours even smaller. It's totally up to you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same towel that I used. I'm going to put some hot water on it and then cover these for another 30 minutes. So let's lower you down there. I'm going to give this a cover. And then I'm going to set this over on my stove top to rise, and I have my oven preheating now to 375 degrees. Now my oven vents from the back there, so I'm not going to put this too close to that. I'm going to kind of just keep it in the front there, and then I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes, and when that goes off, I'll bring you back and we'll get these in the oven. So it's been a half hour. Let me get these over here so you can see them. And what we're going to do is we are going to lightly brush these, and we're just going to give these a milk wash. And this is going to make them beautiful and soft. They go in a 375 degree oven. I'm going to say anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Keep an eye on them. Everybody's oven is different. Mine runs on propane, and I swear propane just runs hotter. And I know I've had friends who thought that was crazy until they too then had propane, and they're like, you're right. So I don't know, you know, but I have propane, and mine cook up pretty quickly. So all right, once we get it all basted, we're gonna throw these in, and I will bring you back when they're done baking. So as our rolls are finishing up, I melted that 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter that was left, and then I'm just gonna add some home dehydrated parsley to that, just a little bit. And just gonna give that a little wishy-wash. And then this is what we will use to butter our rolls with. All right, about time to get them out. They smell so good. Here we go. I'm gonna shut off my timer. I'm gonna keep my oven on because I'm gonna put my meatloaf in. Here are those beautiful rolls. Look at this. Look at this, you guys. Look how beautiful, right? Oh, they're so beautiful. All right, now we're gonna get them coated in butter, and then I will bring you back once I get them all covered here. I just want to show you how they turned out. Absolutely beautiful. And now I'm going to transfer them onto a little wire rack and just let them kind of cool down. And then we'll cut into one and we'll take a look at what it looks like. Here they are cooling on a rack. And the dog is sniffing for any crumbs on the floor. They look absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'm going to let them cool for just a little bit, and then we will cut into one. Okay, still slightly warm, but we're going to go ahead and cut into this. And I just want to show how soft they are. Really soft. This is like the perfect buttery, sweet, soft dinner roll. And it will also be perfect for all those leftover Christmas sandwiches. And it would also be perfect if you had leftovers for like a French toast. But there's the inside. You see that? Let's see. Make sure I'm... There we go. Can you see that? And super fluffy and soft. So, I could probably taste a little bit. I'm limited to what I can eat till my next surgery on my mouth. I think these are the perfect, if you're looking for something soft, buttery, slightly sweet. They're not as sweet as our Texas Roadhouse rolls, but they definitely have a sweetness, and my pastor loves these. And I heard, a little picky when it comes to bread. So yeah, if you give these a try, let me know what you think. It's a recipe I found quite a while ago online, but it was different. So I've been tweaking it to get it the way that I like it, because I like a dinner roll super soft. And a lot of the dinner rolls for me are kind of dry and crispy on the top, and I didn't want that. And they're also not that sweet or buttery. And so I just kind of been tweaking around with this. So let me know what you think if you give these a try. And perfect for the upcoming holidays. And I hope that this video blesses you. And I will be seeing you guys soon, okay? Bye. Happy baking. Happy bread baking.